Hello, welcome to Soothe Yourself. I'm Francesca, and I have the pleasure to have with me today my friend Vivian with Vivalistic. And it's such a joy to have you here today, Vivian. Thank you for taking the time to be here.
Oh, thank you. It's such a joy to be here.
And Vivian is a holistic coach. And this is one thing that I wanted to express my joy about because I like the word holistic and I like the word emotions and anxiety and all these words that we're going to talk about today
Mhm.
to really describe um, how we can manage and the beauty of our emotions. And so I would like to start by asking you, though, Vivian, how did you get interested in this particular field of holistic coaching and how
Mhm.
did it all come about?
Both of my parents have science degrees, and for whatever reason, as a 10-year-old, I was fascinated with all things science, including cancer.
Wow.
So, and then I paused that and pursued music and did a whole bunch of creative things
Hmm.
and landed in teaching people how to play piano and teaching people how to sing. And that has a
Beautiful.
lot of, right? So both of those things are very nervous system calming, very
Mhm.
centering, and both good teaching involves coaching, right? You're
Yes,
explaining,
absolutely.
right?
So it should.
Right. So lots of that. And then I needed dental implants. So had to, anyway, health stuff. And my body just went berserk after the surgery.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
I was just so tense. I was like, I'm so, anyway, just that kind of thing, right?
Hmm.
Maybe it was a form of anxiety. That's not what I was calling it though. And I went to the
Sure.
chiropractor and she gave me the best chiropractic adjustment and said, and I was so grateful. Oh, yay. And she said, I just gave you a nervous system reset.
Ooh, I like the word reset.
All right. So at that moment, every cell in my body knew that I needed to write a book about resetting your nervous system. And I
Hmm.
began researching all that. And then a friend was like, Vivian, you should coach because then you can help people with your information. So
Yes. Yes.
that's been the journey.
Wonderful, wonderful. It's a wonderful thing to be able to express ourselves and also our knowledge on things, our experience, our own personal stories, and put them in writing. It's another wonderful way to help others. So it's another serving career. Coaching and writing, they're both helpful tools. So
Oh.
we will definitely ask you more about that in a minute. But one word that struck me is anxiety. You mentioned that and how very unsettling it is at any age to go through a surgery, but especially when you're young, it's like, what's going on with my body? And why is it doing this?
Hmm.
And sometimes anxiety can actually give us some physical symptoms, mental, but also physical. So, is it something that you have experienced? Can you tell us more about your take on anxiety?
Okay. I want to go. Oh, there's so much to share.
Where do we start?
But I want to start with zooming out a little bit.
Hmm.
One of my favorite factoids is that this part of our brain, the
The
frontal lobe,
forehead. Hmm.
right, handles decision making,
Hmm.
executive function, like that kind of thing. And word on the street is that this part handles 40 pieces of information per second,
Oof,
right? Amazing. Absolutely. Woo, go team.
I
So many
know.
thoughts, right? We can think so fast.
Go
Okay,
creator.
well, right? Uh, back here, the brainstem
Hmm.
is what keeps everything running without our focus. So the subconscious, all of that, everything goes through the brainstem. Emotion center, all of that. That part of the brain is handling 40 million
Oh my
pieces of
goodness.
information per second.
Amazing.
And so our bodies know when something is wrong a
Hmm.
lot of the time. We'll know if the the idea that's coming to mind is like temperatures uneven from one arm to the other,
Mhm.
even if it's not burning us, like our body knows, and it's like that's kind of weird. So what happens a lot is our body wants us to know something so we can make a different decision or just
Mhm.
know something good about ourselves. And there's not time to transmit that many pieces of information into words. And
Mhm.
so and so it becomes a feeling. And then if we don't pay attention to the feeling, then our body's like, hey, let's be louder. Let's get we gotta get the attention. So let's just put more into it. And then we just, and then it keeps going.
Yes.
So
Like what is in the movie in what is it called? In Inside Out, the one about the cartoon
yes,
characters
yes.
being controlling the emotions. And
Oh,
it just reminded me of that with your
oh my goodness.
enthusiastic motions. But yeah, it's incredible how we're beautifully built, right? Shout out
Mhm,
to our Lord, the Creator. But it's really amazing how our brain really connects to the rest of the body, and there is
mhm,
a deep connection there that
mhm,
sometimes shocks us, so the symptoms that we have, the physical, the shaking, the getting, the
mhm,
butterflies in the stomach, something is not quite right,
mhm.
yet the brain knows already, and that's why we get this connection, this message. um, but I find it very difficult, and I know I'm not the only one in the world, um, to I find it difficult to manage the physical aspects of anxiety. I mean, both the physical and the mental, but sometimes the physical really kind of takes over because I try to go mentally and then the body's still going and shaking.
Right.
What do we do with that?
Oh.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, well, first of all, anytime anyone is experiencing an emotion, there are
Mhm.
neuropeptides in your body. So there are special molecules in your body associated with every emotion.
Mhm.
And so when people are like, I'm going to think and tell it to just go away, that kind of doesn't honor the fact that there's molecules there.
We're ignoring some guests in there.
Right?
What kind of a host are we? Yes.
I love that. So the good news is if we are willing to feel the emotion, most of the time it will not last longer than 90 seconds.
Mm.
So if we're just like, okay, this is how I feel, let me go
Yeah.
seclude myself, maybe in the restroom, maybe just in my car, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to feel this. And our attention is so powerful. And so if we just let ourselves be present and feel it, then our body gets to break down those neuropeptides and then it's gone.
So it's kind of a validation, like you're present. I acknowledge your presence. Kind of like everybody in the world needs to hear that, right? You're a person. I acknowledge your existence. But within ourselves, we have so many things we have to acknowledge. We work
Oh,
with so many little
okay.
particles, right?
Yeah, you are right. And so when you're talking with people, have you ever noticed how you feel when someone says that makes sense?
Yeah, sometimes I agree, sometimes I'm like, well, do you?
That's funny. So not only being a good guest, but giving ourselves the permission to
Hmm.
have that feeling and not judge it.
Ooh, I like that. Because we're so controlling, sometimes we want to put a label on things and even on our own state of mind and go, oh no, I'm better than this. I cannot let this take over, you know?
And especially for women raised in the church, there's a lot of,
Hmm.
I think, cultural pressure that we're supposed to be experiencing the fruits of the Spirit all the time. And the
Mhm.
Bible does say, fear not. So that's like,
Yes.
okay, how do we do that? But it doesn't say how to fear not.
Yeah.
Um, I could go into that in another
Yeah,
time. But
sure. But it's beautiful to consider that too, because um, we are built in a way and we have everything we need within. I'm a firm believer of that.
oh, yes.
So
Yes.
it's just sometimes figuring out how to
Mhm.
deal with what we have, with resources that we have. That can be
Totally.
scary, but can also be the joyful part of the journey. And that's where I see your enthusiasm coming in from, because you told me several times we talked before, you said, even the most uncomfortable emotions
Mhm.
are important. They need to be validated. but
Hmm.
they're so uncomfortable with what do we do with them? Like, how do we validate them without feeling
Okay,
crushed by
right.
them?
So my favorite way to do this is to acknowledge that emotions are feelings, right?
Hmm?
They're not there. We put a word on them, but really they are a feeling.
Hmm.
And so if we're willing to pay attention to the feeling, like oh, for anxiety, oh, I feel pressure in my chest.
Hmm.
How thick is that pressure? Is it over my whole chest or is it just right here? Is it condensed? Does it feel cold? Does
Hmm.
it have a color?
Hmm,
And so just like,
interesting.
yeah, right. It's fascinating. So what most people want to do at that point is judge the feeling and stop paying attention. But really, these sensations are happening inside of us and giving your attention to that and just being like, okay, like how is this feeling in me right now? That process is what breaks it down. And then as you so say it's like I just did this actually this weekend for anxiety actually. um okay. I'm going through something pretty big in life right now and I'm having a lot of emotions about it.
Yeah.
And for reasons that we can get into later, I was every 2 hours looking at the emotion wheel and writing down what emotions I was feeling.
Wow.
Very powerful.
That, yeah, I
Very,
was gonna say that sounds powerful.
right. So I would
Right.
love to talk more about that after the story. And I was surprised that 5 times anxiety came up. So I'm like, I don't know if I would describe myself that way.
Hmm.
And so I was like, okay, well, I need to pay attention to this. And so I did. And so that's how I felt it. And then with about 10 seconds of attention on really what does it feel like in my body, usually shifts to something else. Either
Hmm.
like it'll feel like it moves or it'll feel like the color changes, like that kind of thing.
Hmm.
And then same thing, just pay attention. You're like, that's all, that's what we crave, right? You watch kids, what are they saying? Watch me,
Yes.
watch me. Like,
Mama, are you watching? Yeah.
totally.
Hmm.
And we give so much of our attention to everyone else, but we're the ones that live inside of, our temple. It's us.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it's beautiful to also give that attention to yourself.
And it's a responsibility. It's a beautiful right and a beautiful responsibility because we cannot ignore, you know, who we are and what we have within, because otherwise we cannot be able to help others, to be a person to others, if we don't acknowledge we are a person to ourselves first.
Ooh, very deep.
I'm sorry, I'm a deep person.
I like it.
But see, what we're doing is also a very positive approach to the topic itself, because if we put labels on on negative labels on things and what we feel, then the connection between the feelings and the brain goes like, oh, negativity, something bad.
Yeah.
Whereas we acknowledge as almost a normality. Okay, this is what I'm experiencing in the moment. Okay, there must be a reason why.
Yeah.
Let's think about it. And
Well,
how can I
actually,
use that? Right? Go ahead, tell me more.
um, with my favorite method, if you just keep giving attention,
Mm-hmm.
after about 4 or 5 shifts, there's this sense of peace.
Ah, I like that.
And then you ask, is there something you want me to know?
Mm.
And that's when you get the good message. And my absolute favorite story of this is a client who um, was working with a therapist on an eating disorder. So I wasn't touching that at all, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was just guiding her in metabolizing some present emotions. And so we did this process, and she was seeing a lot of gray, kind of like foggy, and it was kind of moving around, and this, and um, there were a lot of judgmental thoughts popping up. And so,
Mm-hmm.
we invited her to ask those to step back. We could look at those later. So went through the
Mm-hmm.
whole process. It took a little longer than usual. Totally fine. You know, some stuff takes longer. And
Yeah.
then, so after all of that, and after we got to the point where there was the peace, the message that she got was, I'm not hungry. I just want to be heard.
Beautiful.
And then
Boy.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah. So that is my absolute favorite story. And then that fueled her. She was in a high stress situation for 2 weeks because of um, yeah, just like physical injury and um, moving and just high stress. And she didn't turn to food for at least 2 weeks in that when that
Wow.
would have been the thing.
Oh my goodness, I need to be coached by you. No, no kidding. There is so much familiarity with what you're describing. Um, it's very common to associate food with nourishment and treats and rewards and emotional feed, just emotional nourishment. There's such a great connection in my family. I've experienced that a lot. Many of my family members and I struggle with that. And it's like, well, I'm nervous, I'm gonna eat. Well, I'm anxious, I'm gonna eat. Well, I'm sad, I'm gonna eat. Oh, I'm happy, let's eat. It says maybe because I'm Italian, there's something to be said about that. But the fact is, it's just that recurring to food as, and sometimes it feels almost like a self-punishment. Like, well, I'm never gonna be the weight I want to be. I'm never gonna be looking the way I'm gonna look. So I may as well continue to eat. And there's a pattern that keeps being repeated. So I am so just in awe to hear that there is something out there that could help with this. And you might have the key. I want to learn as much as I can about this. So do you have special techniques? So things like you mentioned, it took a little longer than usual. So it's like usual made me think that there is something that you do on a regular basis, like a technique or a method that you apply in your conversations with your clients.
There's a few different techniques that I pull from depending on where I feel the client is and what's going to help the
Mm-hmm.
most in this moment.
Yes.
Um, and so that, I mean, that one is one of my favorites. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's so powerful. And like, I personally think that people do drugs and they see all these colors.
Mm.
I think those are happening inside of us all the time. And I think that it's just the drugs that just make
More
us
evident.
yeah. But when we do this method, which I call emotion listening, we're just focusing on one emotion at a time. So anyway, so
Yeah.
there's that. Um, but another really powerful thing to do, I already mentioned, and that's look at the emotion wheel and write
Mm-hmm.
down what emotion you're feeling.
Mm-hmm.
It's rare for it to just be one. Let's be
Yes.
honest.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's why we feel a little overwhelmed. There's more than one thing.
Right. And overwhelmed is actually one of the options on
Yeah,
there.
I'm sure.
There you go.
It's a very
So,
common
and
one.
what?
It's a very common one.
It is. So that is one of the most powerful things you can do because what are you doing when you look at the emotion wheel? You're sorting through everything and you're like, this is what I'm feeling right now,
Mm-hmm.
which means the message got through. So your body gets to be like, okay, whew, she got the message.
Yeah.
And not only that, our brains are amazing. Seriously.
Mm-hmm.
When we know specifically what is causing us distress, our brains are able to kick into gear to solve it. So we've also relaxed because we're like, oh, now I know what to do. So
Mm-hmm.
if the word, if two of the words that come up are confused and anxious, first of all, we're like, okay, great. That makes sense that I'm feeling anxious. Like X, Y, and Z is happening in life. Like,
Mm-hmm.
totally makes sense. And then we can think about ways to soothe ourselves because you
Yes.
play your podcast.
Yeah.
And then,
Everybody needs soothing. That's my theory.
yes, absolutely. Uh, from toddlers on, from babies on.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
yes. So our brain automatically is like, okay, so I think it kind of roots us in reality.
Mm-hmm.
And then our brain's like, okay, well then this is what I need to do. And for confused, same thing. It's like, okay, so yeah, I'm actually bouncing back between these five things. Huh. And then a lot of times just clarity can come from just labeling the fact that you feel confused. It
Got it.
kind of
Mm-hmm.
shifts your brain into a different gear and you're like, oh, okay, so I actually think that this is what I think.
That's fascinating. And it is, um, quite a tool to just pause a minute and kind of like the word reset, because when you do, you go through that process of acknowledging, validating your emotions, and then be able to, through your brain, kind of connect, okay, so these are the things that are happening. This is what I'm experiencing. There is that awareness that gives us that ability to clearly look at the situation a different perspective, a kind of resetting our system. It's like when you are operating a computer, sometimes they go in overload. I have this worst habit of all, I know it is, that because I forget the website link or whatever, I have many tabs open at the same time. So, so my search engine is going wild constantly, like me going all over the places. So every now and then my computer is just begging me, please reset. It's too much, of information overload. And that's what we do to our brains. And so it's easy to get overwhelmed and anxious when there is just too much on the plate. You can't handle it, literally. So I really like the concept of resetting that way. And
Hmm.
and one other thing that I know you mentioned to me before is, when we are that in the state of mind where our body is out of control, um, it's helpful to stop and concentrate on the breathing. So I was going to ask you about more about that because I know you have a special way of approaching the breathing and go through it a little more calmly than just,
Right.
yeah, I took a breath. So,
Right. So, yes, and it's in the same um, vein as everything else I've talked about.
mhm.
Even with the breathing, the way that I like to have people do it validates what you're feeling. So instead of just arbitrary, like, I'm just going to breathe in and breathe out, like you demonstrated, which
Yeah,
is funny. Um, is it okay if I have everyone do it along with us right now?
I think so. Yeah, sure. I mean, listeners, take a moment. It's awesome. Let's
Thanks.
do it. Let's do it. It's going to be helpful to all of us.
So find your pulse. Your heart has a rhythm and it is doing its thing without your attention. And so starting
Mhm.
by finding your pulse and just paying attention to the heartbeat is really powerful and it lets your brain waves sync up with the waves of your heart. There's electromagnetic waves for your heart as well. It's actually stronger than your brain. So focusing on that just lets that sync up. And we're going to let that be the pulse. And we're going to breathe in for 4 heartbeats. Here we go. Breathe in and out. In, in, and out. This time breathe in for 5 and out for 5. In for 5, out for 5. In for 5 and out. Now we're going to breathe in for 6 and out for 6. Breathe in for 6 and breathe out for 6. Now we're going to breathe in for 7 and out. Breathe in Now I want you to breathe in for 8 and out for 8. Again. Slowly Bring your presence back to the room. Gradually open your eyes.
Wow. I went from a Ferrari engine very fast. You know, that was very relaxing. Undoubtedly
Thank
was
you.
very, very relaxing. I hope the
Can I tell you
audience is
my
still with us. But
yes?
it was so relaxing that I thought, okay, I better not fall asleep. Given my age, that could happen.
My mother's actually getting more sleep because of this exercise.
See, now I'm gonna have to try that.
Mhm. Can I tell you
Beautiful.
my favorite story about it though?
Yes, please.
Okay, so clearly I'm passionate about this.
Yes, which is exciting to see.
Thanks. So I was at a cocktail party last December and I mean, I was like, oh, came up in conversation and I was like, oh, I can show you. And so this person was like, okay. And so in the middle of a cocktail party, this person is standing there with their eyes closed. And
Oh God.
and people are like, what's going on? Like, just, let it happen. At the 8 count breath point, after a few of those, instantly he could smell strawberries across the room.
Oh my goodness, so powerful. Oh wow.
And right. And so what that means is that his nervous system, part of it really shifted into the rest and digest. And he was able to just be more sensory aware. And it happened like that. So,
Wonderful.
yeah.
Well, that is, you know, fascinating and scary at the same time because I smelled rubber like I was in a brand new Ferrari. So I don't know what's wrong with me and cars, but it's just like, ooh, maybe I wanted to take a ride. I don't know.
I mean,
But I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead, dear.
I don't know what the problem is. I mean, I would say just stay in the Ferrari. I mean,
It could be worse, right? Yeah, so but that's beautiful to just take a moment to be with yourself and just really calming resetting the whole breathing system.
hmm
Sometimes we don't realize we're breathing. I really think we're not aware of it like
hmm
99% of the time. And I remember when I used to sing, we used to start, at our choir practice or even
Yeah.
the sessions before performing, we would do some breathing exercises. And I really got out of it and I can tell the difference. Maybe that's why I get recurrent vocal fatigue. I'm not training, you know, that diaphragm breathing and the chest breathing. I just not doing that as much as I used to before. So just taking a moment to, what is it? Take less than 10 seconds, just
Mhm.
do it. And even if it takes you a minute, that's so be it. The 60 seconds well spent. Um,
Mhm.
so it's important to do that with the awareness of what we're doing. So thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate it. And I know that you are so passionate about it that you have also a very interesting series of packages on your website, and there is also more than coaching on your website. So if people want to know more, could you share with us the website link? I will also
Yeah.
post it, guys, but just so tell me more about
Thanks.
the website. What's in it?
So it's Viv Holistic,
Mhm,
and I think it's a great website. If you go there, right now I have the breathing exercise available for free if you just want to watch it,
mhm. And do it
and
with it.
just
Yep.
breathe along.
Yes.
So that's there. And then I'm about to put a chapter from my book on there for free.
Ooh, wonderful freebies. That must be a good one, I'm sure.
Oh, it's where, also, okay, so the book is written as a hero journey coming of age where the character starts her life very stressed and anxious. And then she
Aha.
learns some tools
Aha.
and puts them into practice. And then at the end, she's just feeling calm and thriving, right?
Beautiful. I can't wait to read it, Viv.
Oh, thank you. So the chapter that's on there is the one where she learns what I talked about earlier, the emotion listening. And so you get to see her experience it.
Yeah.
And the emotion she's processing through is terror. So that is
Ooh.
there for you.
Terrifying and terrific. So
Yeah. Well, yeah, related.
that's life. Terrifying and terrific. And so I will definitely post the link in the description of the episode. And I'm really, really grateful for you to take the time today to converse with me and with us here about anxiety and emotions and the beauty of our body, our brain, and the connection that we really need to be aware of more often and on a regular basis to function to our full potential through life. So thank you so much, Liv, for taking the time.
Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. And to all of you who listened, I am so grateful to you. Don't forget to like and subscribe, but especially remember to always take great care of yourself. Great care of yourself. Breathe, smile, and do something to soothe yourself.